If you correspond with Ralf on television, video, or telephone, audio, or you chat, text, or email him, you're giving him permission to duplicate it, rebroadcast it on any of the Take Your Life Back Today show broadcasts.
Yeah, beat your addiction, live free. Ralf Friedrichs is who you see. Listen in when you're feeling low. Take back your life, today's show. Beat your addiction, live free. Ralf Friedrichs is who you see. Listen in when you're feeling low. Take back your life, today's show. Stay positive, hope, and keep faith. Stand strong against any odds that you face. Put away the alcohol and the drugs. Fill your time with the things you love. Addiction is tough, but it's worth the work. Treat your body what it's worth. Spread positivity, inspire all. If we stand together, we will never fall. I help others see the other sides of life. A sober life, letting go of the strife. So give me a call, I can help. 1-844-4405-HELP. Homeless shelters, hospitals, jails, wherever you are. I am Ralf Friedrichs and I am here for you. 1-844-405-HELP.
Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach and the host of the Take Your Life Back Today show. Let's talk about most common phrases. I have 7 here, but there are probably millions of other ones. One of the most common phrases that I remember in my life that kind of set a turning point in my life of what direction I was going was many years ago. And that pretty much that phrase was due to a conflict between me and someone else, and me questioning that person's motives of not doing something to someone else in the family. And that phrase to me, which was a turning point in my life, was blood is thicker than water. Let's talk about some phrases. These are the 7 most common. Bite the bullet. This phrase was first attested in the late 18th century in the military. At that time, it was common practice during emergency battlefield surgeries to have the person being operated on bite down on a lead bullet to help distract them from the pain of surgery without anesthesia, as well as to cut down on the screaming. In the late 19th century, this spread to the phrase being used in it's sort of a common phrase of biting the bullet when you're about to do something that is not a pleasant situation. Here's the phrase that I just spoke about. Blood is thicker than water. This one's completely flipped its meaning over the centuries. In the beginning, it meant something to the effect of bond or covenant. I've made it with someone I've shed or shared blood with. Sometimes literally is stronger than one I have with someone else I've shared the womb with. Obviously, in today's interpreted the other way, that the bond between the family members or blood relationships is stronger than one between 2 people connected by water. The phrase is thought to have its origins either in blood rituals made between 2 people form a bond or a covenant with one another by shedding blood, or between soldiers who fought and whether literally or figuratively shed blood together on the battlefield. The first instance of something like this phrase popped up in 1180 in Renard the Fox by Heinrich der Gletscher. kin blood is not spoiled by water. It later appeared in its more modern form, Blood is Thicker Than Water, in John Ray's 1670 work Proverbs, and then in Sir Walter Scott's novel Guy Mannering in 1815, with Scott generally being credited as one who invented the exact phrase through the truth sentiment was borrowed from the older Proverbs. Blood is Thicker Than Water is thought to have been popularized by U.S. Navy Captain Joshua Tatnall in 1859. Tatnall decided to aid the British in a naval battle with the Chinese in 1859. His widely publicized explanation for why he aided the British in the battle included the Proverbs, blood is thicker than water. Okay, let's do this here for a minute. I'm kind of losing it here. Number 3, caught red-handed. We all have heard that phrase before, caught red-handed. What do you think that means? This expression has its origin in Scotland around the 15th century. Given the context, it was often used in the earliest reference. The phrase red hand or red-handed probably came about referring to people caught with blood on their hands. The first known document instance was in Scotland Acts of Parliament of James I, written in 1432. That offender be taken red hand may be persuaded and put to the knowledge of Ain Ac before the baron of landlord of the land or ground. The offender be his tenant unto quam the rang, and was caught red-handed hurting someone. It subsequently popped up numerous times in the various legal proceedings in Scotland afterwards, nearly always referring to someone caught in the act of committing some crime, such as apprehended, red hand, taken with red hand, etc. The first documented instance of the expression morphing came from red hand to red-handed was in the early 19th century, written by Sir Walter Scott. Was a book called, what was it called? Ivanhoe. I did put a tie on one fellow who was taken red-handed, and in fact to the horns of a wild stag. Its use in Ivanhoe subsequently helped popularize it throughout the English-speaking world. And further morphed to the full caught red-handed phrase about a half century after Ivanhoe was publicized or published, first appearing in Guy Livingstone, written by George Alfred Lawrence and published in 1857. My companion picked up an object, and we had just time to make out that it was a bell handle and a name plate when the pursuers came up, 6 or 7 peelers and specials with a truck of men and boys. We were collared on an instant. The fact of the property being found in our possession constituted a flagrance. We were caught red-handed. They were caught right there. Number 4, breaking the ice. This phrase literally means to break the ice. An icebreaker ships that would force path for other ships to follow. Around the late 17th century, this took a more modern meaning to forging a path, not through ice, but through an awkward silence or awkward social situation. Breaking the ice is breaking up social awkward situations and people talking. So when you hear that word, break the ice, that's what that means. Number 5 is eat humble pie. This one originally came about thanks to humble surroundings, similar to humble. Indeed, the H sound was dropped in many dialects, so they sound exactly the same in those cases. An humble or humble pie was literally a pie cooked with umbles in it. What are umbles, you might be asking? Not a common word anymore, but used to just mean the chopped or ground up innards of an animal. Ooh, like the heart, lungs, kidneys, intestines, and anything else that might be internally in an animal. Also associated with the innards of a deer. How did we then go from little humble pie to figurative humble pie? It's thought it was probably had to do with the fact that many who ate humble pie made of random innards of animals also mixed in, not unlike a hot dog, tended to be lower station or more humble position in life from a wealth and status standpoint. Thus, the connection from humble pie to humble pie. Let's think about that. They were eating the inner parts of animals ground together. That's pretty gross. Number 6, jaywalking. We all know what that is. It comes from the fact that jay used to be a generic term for someone who was an idiot, dull, rude, unsophisticated, poor, or simpleton. More precisely, it was once a common term for country bumpkins or hicks, usually seen incorrectly as inherently stupid by city folk. Thus, to jaywalk was to be stupid by crossing the street in an unsafe place, or some country person visiting the city who wasn't used to the rules on the road, or the pedestrian just didn't care about the signs. In many streets like Oxford Street, for instance, the jaywalker wanders complacently in the very middle of the road as it was a country lane he was walking on. The first documented use of the word jaywalking was in 1909 Chicago Tribune, where it stated, chauffeurs asserted with some bitterness that their joyriding would harm nobody if there were not so many jaywalkers. The last one is to show your true colors. Super important one because we all run into people like this. Ships would often carry flags from many different nations so that they could deceive nearby vessels into thinking they were allies. The rules of engagement, however, required that all ships hoist their true nation's colors before firing upon someone. Thus, it was common to hoist the enemy ship colors and hail them once near, show your true colors, and fire upon them. True colors. We've all had people like that in our life. Are you showing your true colors when you're talking about your addiction, your depression, your low self-esteem? True colors means that you're willing to show who you are to someone else exactly who you are. If you don't show your true colors, you're just hiding the fact of who you are. I am proud of who I am. Are you? Give me a call at 844-405-HELP, and let's, together, you and I, show our true colors and take our lives back today on this show. And may God bless you.
but never got an answer, and wondered if God was really there. Did you feel all hope was gone, but in His time He came along and answered the prayer you thought was gone? There is no prayer too small, for God hears them all. The answer may not be just what you want, but He always knows what's right, even when we think it's wrong. Just remember, there is no prayer too small. still believe. There is no prayer too small, and even when we fall, He gives us just exactly what we need. There is no prayer too small, for God hears them all. The answer may not be just what you